Throughout history, whispers of children lost to the wild have echoed in our folklore and myths. But these are not just tales. There are documented, true stories of children found living among animals, raised by wolves, dogs, or monkeys, far from human contact. These cases are both heartbreaking and deeply fascinating, forcing us to question what it truly means to be human. Today, we'll delve into two of the most famous and poignant stories, those of Oxana Malaya and Genie. These accounts offer a rare, albeit tragic, glimpse into the critical role of early childhood development, language, and love in shaping our humanity. Imagine a little girl, not speaking in words, but in barks. Not walking, but running on all fours. This was the reality for Oxana Malaya, a young Ukrainian girl discovered in 1991. She was found at the age of 8, living in a kennel behind her family's home, having been raised by a pack of stray dogs. When authorities found her, she displayed more canine behaviors than human ones. She would pant with her tongue out, sniff her food before eating, and communicate through sharp, guttural barks and whimpers. Her story begins with profound neglect. Born in a small, rural village, Oxana was a child of alcoholic parents who, one cold night, left her outside. Seeking warmth, the 3-year-old toddler crawled into a makeshift kennel inhabited by mongrel dogs. In an incredible turn of events, the dogs didn't harm her. Instead, they accepted her, huddled around her for warmth, and shared their scraps of food. For the next 5 years, this pack of dogs became her family. They were her protectors, her companions, and her teachers. She learned their ways, mirroring their movements and their sounds, simply to survive. The human world had cast her out, and the animal world had taken her in. When she was finally rescued, the transition back to human society was a monumental struggle. Oxana had missed the critical window for language acquisition and social development. She had the cognitive understanding of a toddler, despite being nearly 9 years old. Simple tasks like using a spoon or sleeping in a bed were completely alien to her. The sounds of human language were just noise, while the bark of a dog was a familiar form of communication. Specialists and caregivers began the long and arduous process of teaching her to be human again. They worked patiently to teach her to walk upright, to speak, and to interact with people. Progress was slow and filled with setbacks. Her first words were simple, like yes and no, but each one was a victory. The deeply ingrained canine behaviors would often resurface, especially when she felt stressed or frightened. She would drop to her hands and knees or bark at people who startled her. It was a constant reminder of the profound impact those formative years had on her entire being. Decades later, Oxana lives in a home for individuals with special needs, under the care of dedicated staff. She can speak in simple sentences and perform basic chores, like caring for the farm animals at the residence. She has formed bonds with her caregivers and enjoys being the center of attention. Yet, the ghost of her past remains. While she has regained much of her humanity, the years she lost can never be fully recovered. Her story is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit, but also a stark reminder of how essential nurture, language, and social connection are in our earliest years. Without them, the very foundation of our identity is compromised. Now, let us turn to another, perhaps even more tragic story, one that unfolded not in the wild forests or rural villages, but behind the closed doors of a suburban American home. This is the story of a girl known to the world as Genie, a pseudonym chosen to protect her identity. Her case became one of the most studied and debated in the history of linguistics and child psychology. Genie was discovered in 1970 in Arcadia, California, at the age of 13. She had spent her entire life in almost total isolation, strapped to a potty chair in a small, dark room. Her father, who suffered from severe mental health issues, believed she was profoundly intellectually disabled and kept her hidden from the world. He forbade anyone, including her mother and brother, from speaking to her. Any sound she made was met with punishment. As a result, when she was found, she was completely silent, unable to speak or make any vocalizations. She couldn't chew solid food, could barely walk, and had the physical and mental development of an infant. She was a ghost of a child, having been deprived of virtually all human stimulation, interaction, and affection for over a decade. When social workers rescued her, she was a medical and scientific marvel. Here was a wild child who had grown up without language, not in the wilderness, but in a prison of her own home. Scientists and linguists were fascinated. Genie presented a unique and ethically complex opportunity to test the critical period hypothesis of language acquisition. This theory suggests there is a specific window in early childhood, after which learning a first language becomes difficult, if not impossible. Was it too late for Genie to learn to speak? Could the human brain, after so much deprivation, still form the neural pathways necessary for language? A team of dedicated researchers and therapists at the Children's Hospital Los Angeles took on her case. They began an intensive program to rehabilitate her and, at the same time, study her development. Initially, her progress was astonishing. She was curious and eager to learn about the world she had never known. She learned to walk with more stability and to use the toilet. She began to recognize and identify objects, and most excitingly, she started to acquire vocabulary. She learned hundreds of words, like blue, ball, and mother. However, she never managed to grasp the rules of grammar. She could string words together, but never formed grammatically correct sentences. She would say things like "Mike paint" or "I like hear music," but the complex structure of language, the syntax that allows us to express nuanced thoughts, remained beyond her reach. Her case seemed to support the idea of a critical period for grammar acquisition. While vocabulary could be learned later in life, the foundational structure of language appeared to need an early start. Unfortunately, Genie's story did not have a happy ending. The research project surrounding her became fraught with professional rivalries and ethical disputes. Funding was eventually cut, and the scientific team was disbanded. Genie was moved through a series of foster homes, some of which were abusive and neglectful, causing her to regress. The trauma of her later years silenced her once more. The girl who had begun to find her voice was plunged back into a world of fear and silence. Today, Genie lives in an undisclosed facility for adults with disabilities in California. She is once again silent, a heartbreaking end to a life that held so much promise for scientific understanding, but offered so little personal peace. The stories of Oxana and Genie are profoundly different in their circumstances, yet they teach us the same fundamental truths. They show us that language is more than just communication, it is the very architecture of our thoughts, the tool with which we build our understanding of the world and our place in it. These cases reveal that being human is not a given. It is a potential that is unlocked through connection, care, and communication in the crucial early years of life. Without the nurturing environment of a human family or society, the lines between human and animal, or between existence and life, can become tragically blurred. These children, found on the fringes of our world, hold up a mirror to our own humanity, reminding us of the profound responsibility we have to nurture and protect it. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of these incredible and moving stories. If you found this journey into the depths of human nature as fascinating as we did, be sure to subscribe to Infinitural for more content that challenges and expands our understanding of the world.